Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about the Wilderness of Paran, from the third book of Redemptive History series, The Unquenchable Lamp of the Covenant. When David was at the Wilderness of En-gedi, the 11th place of refuge, he was shocked to hear that the prophet Samuel had died. So David went down to the Wilderness of Paran with a troubled heart. In 1 Samuel 25 verse 1 it says, "Then Samuel died, and all Israel gathered together and mourned for him, and buried him at his house in Ramah. And David arose and went down to the Wilderness of Paran." The Wilderness of Paran was the southernmost point David had reached during his flight. At this time, we can see that David fled to a very distant place. The reason is because, with the death of Samuel, who was the only spiritual leader who could curb King Saul, it was likely that Saul would threaten David's life with more vigor. Therefore, it was probably David's best choice to flee to a very distant place. The name Paran in Hebrew means land with many caves, so it is presumed that it was a place where people could easily take refuge in times of danger. In the past, Hagar and Ishmael also took refuge in the Wilderness of Paran after Abraham cast them out. This is in Genesis 21, verses 14 and 21. It says, "Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He set them on her shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. She went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. While Ishmael was living in the desert of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from Egypt." Everyone, who was Prophet Samuel to David that he fled to such a distant place? Samuel was the nation's lamp who had provided light in the spiritually darkened era of the judges. He was the nation's father and a great prophet. Moreover, Samuel was the one who anointed David with oil, which elected him as king. From that moment on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David. Prophet Samuel was also a great pillar in David's heart. That is why, when David first fled from Saul, the first place he fled to was Naioth in Ramah, where Samuel was. David was shaken up by the news of the death of Samuel, the spiritual father and great prophet. He probably felt an anticipation of dread in his already burdened heart. This must have drained all the strength from him. Everyone, if we're to lose someone who we really respect, believe in, and follow because that person has passed away from this world, then we will be filled with so much pain and sadness and fear that we're not able to see that person anymore. Possibly, we may seem to not be able to do anything and just stare for days on end. However, just as David discovered many caves to hide in when he arrived at the Wilderness of Paran, God will not leave us alone. God is like a cave where we can take refuge from all the unjust threats of this world. And He will protect us until the day that we go into the kingdom of heaven. And He will be our spiritual refuge. Let us all believe this. In Psalms 32 verse 7, it says, "You are my hiding place. You preserve me from trouble. You surround me with songs of deliverance." In Psalms 119 verse 114, it says, "You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word." Beloved saints, today, even if unspeakable shock and difficulty sweep over us, let us only look towards our Father God, who is our spiritual refuge. Let us put forth our strength and move forward. I bless in the name of the Lord.